We'd spent the last fortnight in Pancake Creek having a great time fishing and exploring, but the coming weather looked like it favoured a trip to the Coral Reef. We were headed for the Capricorn Bunker group, the southernmost part of the Great Barrier Reef, renowned for its world-class diving. With easing winds coinciding with smaller tides, we've made plans to leave our anchorage at Pancake Creek and sail the 36 nautical miles to Fitzroy Reef in the Capricorn Bunker group. We left in the early morning and, as expected, it was a bit of a bumpy ride getting off the coast, with the tide going against the wind, causing confused seas.
Well, we've made it to Fitzroy Reef and we made it in good time. So the tide is still flooding out of the pass, so you can see it's running pretty hard. It's cup of tea time and we just got to wait about half an hour now, and the tide will slacken and we'll make our way in. But we're sort of fighting the light as well, so half an hour, there should still be enough. It's a really low tide. I should be able to see the coral and we'll get in. You're not worried, are you, Pascal?
No. It's more like when we get in, there's a few bommies.
No problem.
Okay. Good work, Skip.
Thanks.
We made it in and it wasn't actually even a little bit hair raising. It was pretty chill and straightforward. I think a lot of people use that passage to come in here because it's an awesome sheltered lagoon. We'll see how it is at high tide tomorrow, but right now it's dead calm, so it's a real treat to be out at the reef and in a little cozy lagoon. So this is the first time in 4 months that we've been out to the reef.
We've come and we've anchored in the lagoon of Fitzroy Reef here, and oftentimes you'll talk to other yachties and they'll be like, oh, the fishing's terrible. I went diving and it was the professionals have ruined everything. It's not always the case. Like when you come into a coral lagoon, the things that make it a great anchorage, not much wave action, not too much current, doesn't make it that exciting for fish. All right, but where we've got an entrance channel coming into a lagoon, and particularly with just the last hour of the run-in tide, there'll be a fair bit of water movement and fish are attracted to that because it's bringing oxygenated water and it's bringing food to them. So wherever you find like a reef passage with flowing water, it'll make it a little bit more difficult to swim, and it might not be a perfect anchorage, but you've got a better chance of seeing a lot more fish there. Usually the best anchorages, the most protected, the stillest water, you're going to jump in there and you're going to find reasonably unimpressive coral and not a lot of fish. All right, and it's not necessarily because the fish stocks have been decimated. It's just that you're in the back lagoon of a coral reef and there's not much going on. I guess you know, it's the difference between going for a drive through the CBD on a Sunday afternoon or hit the nightclub strip on a Friday night.
Anyway, we've already seen a big school of fish and 2 turtles, so we know it's a good sign.
Yeah.
And some bait being chased on the surface too.
Yeah, we already know, don't
Yeah.
we? There's water movement, there's a reef pass. Fish love change, you know, they love to be on the boundary. Anyone that's into permaculture, you'd know about boundaries. And reef passes are definitely boundaries. It's the outside world coming into the inner lagoon. There's change, there's turbulence, and fish really like it. Let's finish that little spiel with a spit in the mask, and we are off.
pretty good dive. Lots of turtles, sharks. That was a brilliant dive. It's a really fishy place. Lots of trevally and spangled emperor and red bass. A big school of red bass. Pretty healthy reef.
Yeah, the visibility is down as you saw, and that's because already just at this state of the tide, this whole lagoon is emptying out through these passages. So they're bringing the silt load with it. So, you know, not amazing visibility, but on the low tide, when the tide pushes back in, unfortunately it'll be later on in this, you know, quite late in the afternoon, it would actually start pushing some clearer water. Yeah. But again, a lot of those fish would then be on the other side of the channel over there, so that's pretty good. Yeah.
Sun's everywhere. Oh, there we go.
Should we see how... See what a nice bit of squid.
What's he got?
Trout.
Oh! Coral trout. Hey, little buddy.
Nice size too.
Yeah.
So that's a common trout. It's that Plectropomus lepartus. And it's lunch.
Yum. Whoa! Damn it.
Two gammon. Lost the bait?
Yep.
After a few dives inside the pass of the lagoon, we took Marul in search of clearer, deeper water outside the reef.
All right, well that wasn't too bad. It was in about 14 metres was getting these fish from. And that's sufficiently enough depth for red wavelengths of light to be filtered out of the spectrum. So when we're down there, it looks very blues and greens and so on. Every now and then we'll hear from some viewers and they say, why don't you use a red filter on your cameras to bring back some of those colours? But the reality is once we're diving down below about that 10 metre limit, that the actual red has been filtered out by the water. And even if you have a red filter, it doesn't do much because there is no red light there. Because the red filter works, of course, by filtering out the blue and the green and leaving the red behind. But there's no red there. And that is why, as you go deeper, these coral trout, they'll lose that greeny, browny coloration they have up in the shallows that you might have seen us get. And then once you start getting the deeper trout, you get this brilliant red coloration. And that's because there is no red light down there. So because there's no red light, this red it's very, very good camouflage. These trout look like a very grey, nondescript colour down there. You can sort of see the outline. Obviously you can see the brightened shadow. Your eyes pick that up very well. But the colour isn't part of it. So that's a pretty good camouflage if you're a fish and you're going down deep. Make yourself bright red and it makes you harder to see. And this snapper here, locally they're called red throat snapper, and now that we're up here you can see why. So again, he's a quite pretty fish. These ones are a little bit cagey. Where I was actually aiming for the head on this fish, and I should have actually led it a little bit, so as it darted forward it got it, and it was only right at the end of the string. That flopper only just engaged, so you can see it's gone there, but it hasn't gone through to the other side. So it was lucky for me, but unlucky for this guy. Both of those should keep us well fed for the next few days, eh, Pasky?
Definitely.
All right, well I'll knock the sides off them and we'll see how we go.
The sharks didn't even show up, it was so quick, over and done with.
That's the important part, isn't it? I mean, even though I didn't get these fish in the head, so there's the lateral line, okay, that's in there is a whole bunch of little pores that receive vibrations from the water and give the fish a lot of information about the outside world. Even if the visibility is poor, fish have a very good awareness of what's going on around them. But pretty much mirroring that, his spine will be running down very, very close to that line. So this part of the fish was still active, but he was sort of like a I don't know, paraplegic fish. This one, it's hard to see the lateral line on this trout, but it runs through there. And that shot there, it did go all the way through. I was able to get a bit closer, but that pretty much paralysed that trout as well from that point backwards. If you ever hear like commercial fishermen talking, they talk about getting a greeny or a strawberry trout. Same trout, just different depth that they came from.
Thank you for tuning into Free Range Sailing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as it really helps get our video out to more viewers. If you'd like to keep track of us in real time, there is links in the description to our Facebook and Instagram page, as well as loads of other great information that you might find useful.